I do thoroughly enjoy it. This is my favourite kind of show. And like you said, Ben, we're watching this so you at home don't have to. And we'll have all of that kind of fizzing debate afterwards. We'll be in the spin room. We'll be with a load of front benchers. But these are the people that really matter. Now, it has just got incredibly spicy on the issue of women's spaces, okay? The audience were going at them here. It drew quite a lot of reaction in this room. And Keir Starmer wasn't really answering what he would do to protect women's spaces. Rishi Sunak was hammering him on that. And I'm just going to go quickly to a couple of the ladies in the room. Just ask you, who do you think he's going to trust? Based on what you've just heard there, who do you trust more with to protect women's spaces?
Sunak. I think he will. I've got 4 daughters. So I'm very keen on that one.
Okay, so it means a lot to you?
Yeah, very much to me.
Okay.
I like my children to go somewhere, being they are female, to feel free.
Rishi Sunak did actually get quite emotional when he was talking about his own daughters there. To contrast that, Keir Starmer just started naming women who were in his party, which I thought was quite a bit weird, really. But how do you feel when it comes to protecting women's spaces? Where are you on it?
Sunak, because at least he knows what a woman is.
Well, Ben, I'm going to throw it back to you, but one thing I will say is we are going to have a great show. Now, one of the key flashpoints from tonight was the debate about gender and about women's spaces. I'm going to play a little clip from this, and we're going to take a question from our audience, and my 2 esteemed guests are going to have to answer it. So here we go.
Changing the law so that the Equalities Act recognises that sex means biological sex, and that will allow us to deliver on what Vicky wants, which is to protect female-only spaces, female-only services. It's crystal clear for you there is a choice on that question at this election, because Keir Starmer is not matched my pledge to reform the Equalities Act to pass new law. That is the only way to deliver on what Vicky says. And the reason he won't do that, I don't know, but he can explain, is because he's not sure, like I am, that when it comes to these matters, sex means biological sex, and that's how you protect female-only spaces and services.
Okay, my friend on the front row here, I believe you've got a question relating to that, have you?
Yeah. I thought Rishi Sunak answered that correctly, and I would support him. I got several doubts about Keir Starmer. He's leading a party which has never had a female leader. I think in his election process, he beat 5 women. And they also had to bring in woman-only shortlist. So really, to nominate the MPs. So really, can he really have the authority to say no about women when there could be a problem in the party? Is there a problem in the party?
Okay. Do you think Keir Starmer's got a woman problem?
I think there's every prospect of there being a woman leader of the Labour Party, and if you think back over Labour's history, it's Labour that introduced the Equal Pay Act, it's Labour that introduced the Sex Discrimination Act, both incidentally opposed by Conservatives at the time. So the reality is that it is Labour that has protected and enhanced and supported the rights of women.
So if Labour is so pro-women, why have the Conservatives had 3 female prime ministers and Labour had 0?
I think that's a really good question. I do not know the answer to it.
Okay.
But the reality is that we need to do better.
What about changing rooms now? What about women's spaces now, okay? What about the fact that, as it currently stands, it appears that under a Labour government, we might have gender ideology reintroduced again in schools, and it be easier for adults to change their gender, and that really does, I think, mean that we're probably going to get more men in women's changing rooms. Is that not a problem for Keir Starmer?
It's not a problem for Keir Starmer. It is a problem.
Or his wife, most
We do not want a situation. We do not want a situation, clearly, where men can pretend to be women in order to gain access to safe spaces where women are properly protected. That's the harm that this whole debate is really addressed at. And what we need to ensure is that women have safe spaces, whilst at the same time recognising there are a small number of people whose gender is not clear even at birth. There are a small number of people who psychologically, at a certain stage in their lives, change. In those circumstances, we need to have some sensitivity about this debate. It is not a debate where we should be sloganising.
Okay, so look, I mean, I'm going to be much more simplistic. I sort of agree with what you're saying, but clearly what Keir is doing is chasing what he thinks, where he thinks popular opinion is. So, you know, when he bent the knee...
Rishi Sunak's not?
No, but on this issue, yeah, clearly. I mean, they're being very political. You know, when Black Lives Matter came in, Keir and Angela Rayner took the knee. Okay, that became less fashionable, and then he was pro-trans rights. And then now he decides that Tony Blair's right when he says that a man has a penis and a woman has a vagina. You know, he's been shifting around. I totally get that. He's a clever politician. But as Rishi said, there isn't any conviction in any of those positions.
Okay, great stuff.